In my last video, I sorted out my computer, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to install Windows and things you should do after that. So this video is going to be for the people that have just built their computers and don't exactly know what to do. I'm going to try and make this guide as easy to follow as possible and try to explain the steps so you're not left in the dark. By the way, my laptop's here because I had to edit the video and my computer is still in the corner of my room, but now it's a little bit less broken, which leads me on to step 1, which is get your computer ready. One thing to make sure is that the HDMI is plugged into the graphics card and that the power supply and the plug are both turned on. If you have any RGB, it should turn on. Now that our computer is ready, we can move on to step 2, which is installing Windows. If you don't know how to install Windows 10, don't worry, it's very easy to do. For this, you will need a laptop or a different computer. Plug your USB into the device, and then on your browser of choice, search up Windows 10 Installation Media and make sure you click onto the Microsoft website. Then go to the bottom of the page and click Create Windows 10 Installation Media, download now. Install it anywhere and follow the prompts and you should be good to go. One note is that you need to make sure that you click onto install on USB device and then click on USB, and after a while it should be done. Next, put your USB into the motherboard and now you are ready to turn on your computer. When starting up the computer, you want to keep pressing the delete key so we can go into the motherboard BIOS, which is basically the motherboard software. Now yours might look a little bit different to mine and that's okay, but the main thing is that you go over to the boot tab and make sure that the USB is set to be the number 1 option. Once you've done that, press F10, save and exit, and you will know it's working when there's a little dial at the bottom of the screen. Now you should load up onto a screen that looks like this. We want to click next and install now. And where it says I don't have a product key, click onto that, and we want to install Windows 10 Home. That's usually what every system has. Then read the terms and conditions, click accept, and we want to click onto custom only. Now this will look a little bit complicated and overwhelming, but really we just need to look at the free space and the total storage. Now I want to install Windows 10 onto my 500GB SSD. Now I have 2 of these in my system, but one has more free space than the other because I just installed it. Now that I've found it, I'm going to click on new and make sure that I use all the storage. I don't think you need to do this anyway, but I just did it just to be sure. Double check that it's the right drive, and then I clicked on next and Windows 10 will be installing. So while Windows is installing, I thought I might explain a couple of things. 1, this process can take a while, so just be patient. And 2, you might notice that the side panel is actually off. Now I did this on purpose because I'm lazy and I've already recorded this video, but it didn't go so well. Now I'm not 100% sure why. I'm thinking that the M.2 had actually messed up or something had corrupted. Something must have gone wrong with the storage and it just would not let me boot onto the SSD. So instead I had to order a brand new one from Crucial, and Windows is actually done. So while this is restarting, I'll just show you a few clips of me actually installing the new storage drive. Oh no, I just realized I'm missing a piece. There's supposed to be a little stub there so that when I push this down, it levels out, but it's not there. Actually, wait, I have an idea. Never mind, I thought there'd be one in this slot, but it's in the motherboard box and I don't have that, so... One. Two.
Done.
Your computer might restart a few times, and if you get these texts at the bottom of your screen, that's a good thing. That means you're ready to move on to the next steps. After it's finished loading, we want to select our region and then your keyboard layout. And if you have a UK keyboard layout, you want to select that. The US keyboard has a big shift key on the right hand side. You want to select whichever one you have and then skip on the second layout. And even though we have an internet connection, we want to click I do not have internet and then do the same thing again. And then we can move on to our details. The reason we do this is because we don't want Windows to install some preset drivers that could mess us up. Once you have put in your details, you just want to click no to all of these. You can select yes, but usually I find that these are just pointless. And after a while, you should have done everything and Windows 10 is ready to be used.
Now, if you're doing a installing Windows 10 any percent speedrun, you can stop here because you've got Windows 10. But there are a few things that we want to do to absolutely optimize our computer, and I will go from most important to least important, but I recommend that you do all of these anyways.
First, we will need to connect to the internet, then go over to settings, update and security, and then we want to check for updates. Now, there aren't any right now, but after a minute or so, you will be surprised by the amount of updates that you will have. There will be a lot, but that is completely normal, although it is very annoying. And these updates will take a very, very long time, and that is also very normal. You really don't have to do anything other than just wait for these updates to be done, and once it says restart required and other updates won't be able to complete, then you want to click restart now, and this will also take a very long time. You're probably better off just watching a YouTube video in the meantime, or this YouTube video. And after a few restarts, we want to go back into the updates and check for more. A few more, just get them completed, and we can also check for optional updates that we can also do, and these usually are for drivers for certain devices. Once those are completed, we just want to restart the system, check for updates, and there shouldn't be any left. Next, we want to update our motherboard BIOS. For this, we need to plug in the USB into the motherboard, and then search up the exact motherboard that you have, and make sure that you click on the manufacturer's website. Now, you might not have to do exactly what I do. For everyone, this may be different, but generally, there will be a support page that you can click onto. Then you want to go over to BIOS and firmware, and make sure that you install the latest BIOS. Now for this, you want to make sure that the USB has nothing on it. You want to go over to Device Tools, select Format, and make sure that it is FAT32, and then do a quick format. Once it's completed, we can install the file, and we need to make sure that we put it onto the USB. But first, we need to extract the files by left-clicking, then right-clicking, and extract all here. Again, this may be different for everyone, but what I have to do is I have to go onto the BIOS renamer to make sure that the file is renamed, and then I can put that file onto the USB. After that, I will have to restart, and then go into the BIOS by spamming the delete key again. And for me, my motherboard has a software that automatically does it for me as long as I select the correct file. Now, I recommend that you search up a guide or a tutorial for your exact motherboard to make sure that you get this right, since this is a very delicate process, and if you mess it up, it can be really bad. But it is also very important that you get it right.
One very important thing to remember is that when you're updating the BIOS, you must never ever shut down the computer. Because if the computer just turns off for whatever reason, maybe it loses power, then your computer is essentially bricked and broken forever. The other components like the CPU and GPU may be fine, but the motherboard definitely will be dead. So if you're in an area where there is a lot of electricity cutting out, just generally unstable current, then you may want to wait until there is a safer time to do this.
After a quick restart, we can go back into the BIOS and see that, yep, we have the latest version and we're all good. Okay, this should be the last thing that we update, but this is for the graphics card and other small things that we need to update. By the way, all these software will be linked in the description, but if you have an Nvidia card, and you can tell by looking at the logo, then you would want to download GeForce Experience, and if you have an AMD card, then you just want to go on AMD's website. For me, I have an AMD GPU, and thankfully they have a software that can automatically detect it and install the latest drivers. So I'm just going to download that, go to our downloads folder and open it. Once opened, it will tell me the latest driver for my graphics card and other small devices and audio drivers. I'm going to install them, but alternatively, you could go back onto your motherboard's website, go to devices and drivers, select Windows 10, and they should be all available for you there. You just want to make sure that you extract the folders as well. If you're using GeForce Experience, it is also very easy. You just download it, open it, and it'll take you through the steps. After a while, it will ask you to restart. You may have to do this a couple of times, but then after that, you're all set. That's it for everything we have to install, but there are 2 more things that we want to double check to make sure that our computer is running perfectly fine. The first thing is that we have to restart, go into the BIOS, and we want to make sure that our RAM is running at its rated speed. Now this may be different for everyone, but I recommend that you search up your motherboard specifically and look at a dedicated video. But on ROG motherboards, you want to click on AI Overclock Tuner and select DOCP, and that should set your RAM at its correct speed. But anyways, you want to press F10, save and exit. And the final step is to go into Settings, Display, and make sure that your resolution is correct. And once you've done that, go to the bottom of the screen, select Advanced Display Settings, and make sure that your refresh rate is as high as it can go. Basically, the higher the hertz, the more smooth. And that's it, that's everything. Now you're free to install whatever you want. Chrome, Steam, your favorite game launchers, Discord, whatever. You can install it all now. You might want to also install first and third party software and customize to whatever you want to do. And yeah, that's basically it.
So this is the end of the video. Finally, my computer is up and running again, and I hope I don't have to do this again very soon because it is a big pain. If you like this video, make sure you like it, and if you really like this video, then subscribe. Hopefully, I don't have to do this again in a long time. But anyways, I'm going to take everything off this SSD because this is my backup drive, and install everything I need to for the next 17 hours. Or maybe 42. Nice.